If you're married to a US citizen, don't assume that your green card is guaranteed because people get denied for these 4 reasons all the time and they never see it coming. First, the timing of your marriage matters so much more than you think. And here's why. There's something called inconsistent conduct. Basically, if you enter the US on a temporary visa, like a student visa or a visitor visa, and you engage in conduct that is inconsistent with that status too soon, it could trigger suspicion of a misrepresentation or visa fraud. So what counts as inconsistent conduct? Coming into the United States on a tourist visa and getting married really soon after and applying for a green card immediately after that. And the reason why that matters is because of something called the 90-day rule, where if you get married and file a green card application within 90 days of your entry, particularly on a student visa or a visitor visa, USCIS might make the finding that you engaged in visa fraud. Now, USCIS officers aren't technically bound by this 90-day rule, but they can look at the facts of your case in order to determine whether they think you may have committed fraud with your original visa. There are times where people use a visitor visa or a student visa to come to the United States solely to get married and file for a green card. That way they could process in the US. So if you entered as a tourist but secretly planned to stay and get married and apply for your green card inside the US, USCIS can deny your green card for fraud. So if you got married soon after entering the United States on a non-immigrant visa, like a visitor visa or student visa, be prepared to be asked questions by USCIS when they adjudicate your marriage-based green card case. You'll need to show that your decision to marry and apply for a green card was not pre-planned, but was instead based on new circumstances that occurred after you arrived. And just because you're married to a United States citizen doesn't mean you automatically qualify for a green card. A lot of people think that marrying a US citizen is enough, but it's not. Because the truth is, marriage isn't the only thing that USCIS looks at when looking at a green card applicant's case. At the end of the day, every green card applicant has to prove the same thing, which is that they're admissible for a green card. That means if you have certain immigration violations or criminal history or past mistakes, the marriage won't fix it or erase them or make them go away. So if you've used fake documents or lied to immigration in the past, that's still on your record. If you have certain criminal convictions, you could be inadmissible. So again, USCIS doesn't just approve green cards based on marriage, they look at your entire history. So if there are questionable things in your record, there may be times where you could apply for a waiver, but waivers aren't guaranteed. Not everybody is eligible for it. And if you are eligible for it, you do have to show extreme hardship to a qualifying relative. So if someone tells you, oh, just marry a US citizen, you're going to be fine, they're wrong. Marriage makes you eligible to apply, but you still have to qualify on your own. And did you know your spouse's past can affect you too? If they have filed for multiple people before, USCIS might start questioning whether those filings were also truthful, or whether they're running a green card scam. Even if your marriage is real, a past history of filing for many other people could put your case under the radar. And lastly, a lot of people think that just because they love one another, that's enough for a marriage-based green card. But USCIS just doesn't care about your love story. They want to see real evidence of the marriage. And that means they want to see shared finances or a joint lease or mortgage in both names. But what if you don't have those? Maybe you live with family to save money. Maybe you have separate finances because of cultural or personal reasons. Maybe one spouse doesn't have credit history, so the other spouse has everything in their name. And none of that means your marriage is automatically fake. But if you don't have the traditional evidence that USCIS is used to, you do need to be ready to explain why and have other ways to prove your life together. For example, affidavits from family and friends who can attest to your relationship, photos over time showing milestones in your relationship, messages, emails, or call logs showing ongoing communication, or evidence of shared travel. There are creative ways to prove your marriage is real, but again, if you don't have the traditional evidence, that means you need to be extra prepared. And if USCIS isn't convinced, it can result in requests for evidence or another interview or delays in your case. So these are just some of the ways that people could lose their green card case, even if their marriage is 100% real. And the worst part is most people don't even realize the problem until it's too late. The takeaway is that it's not just about your marriage, but it's really important to be prepared in all aspects of your case. For more immigration news and information, feel free to give us a follow.